Hey guys, so this is my quick little review of A Wrinkle in Time, and this is a movie that came out back in March, so what the heck am I doing reviewing it uh, in October? So here's the thing about this movie. Uh, I had very high expectations for it before it came out. Uh, I was a big fan of Ava DuVernay. I wasn't as over the moon about Selma as a lot of people were, but I loved 13th. And then when I heard about this movie, it just seemed like such a good idea and such a big deal uh, for reasons that I'll explain later. But once the movie came out and it got really poor reviews, I was a little bit hesitant. And then I just waited a long time, and then it popped up on Netflix for free. Like, so my mom really wanted to see it, so we were like, okay, let's watch it. And my thoughts, it's not as good as I would have liked it to be, but it's not as bad as a lot of reviews are saying. It's somewhere in between. Now, just to get this out of the way real quick, I have never read the book. Never read the book, and I've never seen the 2004 movie that they made of this. So this is my introduction to the story of A Wrinkle in Time. And after seeing this movie, I am a little bit curious to read the book and to know this story better. Because there are some things that work and some things that I think don't really work. And I'm curious to know what they took and what they changed. One thing that I know they changed was the very diverse cast. And this was probably my main reason I was so excited for the movie. I think it's fascinating that you can take a story like this where I believe all the characters were white in the original story. And they change it so that it's not like The Wiz where it's an all black cast. This is a very diverse cast. This is not just in the main characters and the main family, but in all the side characters and even in the extras. There is a very nice blend. It's a very colorful film. We see the full spectrum. We see plenty of strong white characters, plenty of strong black characters, and plenty of strong characters in between. And I think it's incredible that more movies like this, I think more storytelling like this should try to be more diverse rather than just include one black character for tokenism. I feel that this is how it should be done. And it's amazing that they could do this without changing the story at all. So let's talk about Oprah Winfrey, who is in this movie and plays the almighty Mrs. Witch. So this gets into a whole other thing, but there was a period of time where my mother was an editing supervisor on the Oprah Winfrey Show. So my mom worked for her, and Oprah would occasionally take all her employees out on huge, fully paid for vacations. So I got to go to Hawaii and the Mediterranean Sea because of Oprah, and I'm not gonna say I know her that well, but I occasionally got a few pictures with her. So I have a very high opinion of Oprah Winfrey, and I can tell you she does not have an ego. A lot of people are like, Oprah in this movie, she has a giant ego. No, she does not. She may be very rich, but she started off. But she started off in a very different place than she ended up, and I think she's very generous and very humble. And as for her performance in this movie, I've seen Oprah act in other stuff. I know she can act. I don't think acting was her key thing there, but it's a smaller role than you would think it is, given that she gets top billing and everything. Really, Oprah, she commands a lot of gravitas, and then you put her next to Mindy Kaling and Reese Witherspoon, and there's a little bit of a disconnect, because Kaling and Witherspoon are both comedic actresses, and Oprah isn't. So it's a little bit imbalanced. Plus, their roles in the film are pretty much just guides, and that somehow are comedic together. They're basically the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus, but good, is what their characters boil down to, and not as memorable. The movie is really about the character of Meg, played by Storm Reed. Great find, great child actress. I hope she continues to do great things in her career. And everyone else in the cast is very good too. I liked Levi Miller, who was he was in Pan, and he aged out of that real quick, but he's looking pretty good for himself. The kid who played Charles Wallace, not getting a ton of stuff off of him, but then again, he's 6. And it definitely could have been a worse child performance. And of course, there's also Chris Pine, Guga Mbatha-Raw, Andre Holland has a small role, and he was in Moonlight, and it's great to see this kind of representation. Zach Galifianakis, Michael Pena, just a very, very strong cast. And it's really good because there are some movies that you're like, oh, this feels like a dumb thing that people just did for the paycheck. In this movie, it feels like there's a passion. Like, all the actors involved love the story and want to do the story justice. And you can also tell that in the visuals. The visuals are very bright and very vibrant, which could be a turnoff to some people, but I think I respect the work that went into it. I will admit it does get a little bit confusing, and there is a disconnect, particularly with the Charles Wallace character. Certain scenes are edited around. The people that don't like this movie, I can kind of see where they come from. I think it's a little unfair that this has like a 30-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'll look it up, but I respect Ava DuVernay. I like what she does, and it's worth pointing out that this was the first film to have a 9-digit budget to be given to a woman of color, $100 million. And I think that's incredible, and I think it's a sign that times are changing, and it's a very, very progressive film, and imagine a lot of conservatives are probably turned off by this. 41%, okay, a little bit higher than I thought. It's really not a bad movie. I got into it. Is this something that I'm going to go back and watch a bunch? Probably not. I might check out the book just to see how it's better, but it's really, yeah, at the end of the day, that's all I have to say. This is a good film. Is it going to do anything in an award season? I think VFX, maybe costume design. Might have an outside shot of production design, but I don't think so. Because Disney's also got a lot of other big fantasies that they're going to push, like Nutcracker and Mary Poppins. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a threat, except maybe visual effects. And I don't think song is a threat either, because there's a bunch of songs and they're not really that memorable in my opinion. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my thoughts on Wrinkle of Time. Good movie, but I've seen much better, and it's not as bad as critics are saying. Thank you, and see you later. Bye.